just you. Come on in. Welcome to the Scumm Bar.
Welcome to Scumm Bar Podcast, episode 74, where we talk movies, video games, pop culture, books, the need for speed, and everything in between. I'm your host, Mattbrush, and with me is the neediest speed himself.
Anth0z, hey.
Well done, Anth0z.
Ooh,
Welcome
boy.
to Scumm Bar Podcast. How you doing?
Oh boy, I need some water.
That was good. I didn't know what you were going to do.
Ooh, did you figure it out in the end?
Yeah, I got it. No, that was
Great.
great. It was really good. I was gonna make you Tom Cruise at first, and then at the last second, I just didn't know what to do, so I just kind of twiddled around, and hey, you ran with it. So
I might have still did the same thing. Tom Cruise.
welcome to Scumm Bar Podcast. We're gonna go into lots of different things here. We got so much news to cover. I can't believe it. I'm overwhelmed with the news that has happened in 2 weeks.
Lots of news.
Lots of news. It's like if you wait 2 weeks for a podcast episode, there's just you're bound to have everything in the world happen. So.
Yeah, everything. Yeah.
So we really set ourselves up for this. But anyways, we're going to get into it. If you like what you hear here on this podcast, then be sure to check out our Marvel movie marathon, where Anth0z and I go over 22 films in the first 3 phases of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
They are great.
For now, though, let's get into a little segment I'd like to call What's New With You?
Ooh.
Ooh!
What
You!
is new with me? Well, couple things.
Ayo.
My wife and I are in the middle of purchasing a house. So that's some news.
Fantastic. I love it.
And what else?
That consumes a lot right there.
That's pretty much all my mental capacity. So yeah. That's that. How about you?
I'm really happy for you. That's a really cool step.
Thank you.
It's interesting. So I have the house and I'm not married, and you're married and you're getting the house. So there you go.
It's a role reversal.
Yeah. There you go. Anyways, what's new with me? What is new with me? I've been working on the shed. I know I say that every time, but I've been working on the shed. The last 2 weeks, we put on the door frame.
Shed.
We put on.
It gets so much attention from you.
It does. Every weekend. But we
Nice.
put on the door and we put the locks. I had to key a lock for the door. Never done that before, so I had to learn how to do that.
Oh, cool.
That's really interesting.
Where do you learn? How do you learn?
Well, it was my fiance's father who taught me, and so he has the kit, and you kind of like open up a lock, and then you have to take all the little pins. So I didn't know this, but a key has got little heights on the key parts to the key, and those heights all correspond to the pins in the lock, and I didn't know that. So they're all the different sizes of the pins. So you have to get the key you want, and then you get the pin sizes for all those heights on the key, and you put those pins into the lock. You have to use tweezers and like get it into this little mechanism. It's quite difficult actually. You also have to hold in what's known as the top bar. You have to hold it in, which is way harder than it sounds, while you're putting in the pins. So your left hand is like holding this metal rod that is holding in the top bar, while your right hand is using tweezers and the little pins of each size you need to put into this tiny little hole. It's a lot like the game Operation. It's quite difficult. Once you get it though, it's gorgeous once it works.
So, sorry, why is it that you did this manually as opposed to buying a lock?
Apparently when you buy locks in the store and you want to key them to a certain key, this is what you have to do. So I didn't know this, but so we did this just at home because our house key we wanted to make the same as our shed. So it makes it a lot easier for us to go to our shed and then unlock it. It also means that anybody we've given a house key to also is able to go and open our shed just in case we need that in an emergency or something. So we wanted to make make sure specifically that this lock was key to our house. So
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. Wow.
Yeah, so that was fun. That's, I guess, what's new with me.
Nice.
I'm sure there's more, but that's what I'm thinking off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Well, I went to the dentist. I haven't gone in a long time.
Oh, I went too.
Oh, wow. Good for you.
Did we go to the same one at the same time?
No, I'm sure we didn't. Mine's on Vancouver Island. So.
Oh, okay. Mine's not. No.
Well, I hadn't gone since 2017, I think.
What?
Maybe 2018. Well,
Oh.
because when I was living in Vancouver, I was kind of dentist hopping a lot. And since I've been back here on the island, I have not gone yet to get like my routine checkups and like get a regular dentist. In fact, a lot of them are booked, so it was hard to find. Anyways, I finally got in, and now I've got like a whole plan set up for my dental routine, which is really nice. So finally, I'm going to be on some kind of like pattern with that. So yeah, it had been a long time, and it was really, I needed to get it done. So I'm glad I finally went and did it.
Nice.
So, yeah.
How did it turn out? Because whenever I go, like
it was okay.
I have like I've never had a cavity before.
No way. Good for you.
That's well, I mean, like it could be because of my genes. I don't know, like maybe my dad had or my parents.
Which kind
had
of genes?
strong
Like,
teeth.
are they cargos or like?
They're enamel genes. Yeah, they're pretty heavy,
Gotcha.
but they're durable. They're waterproof.
Ah.
So yeah, so like I haven't really had an issue with that, and like I haven't had to go in for like fillings and stuff like that. But I also try to go regularly. Like we book every 6 months.
Oh, good
and
for you.
I think people think I'm a little bit crazy, but I like going. Like I feel like I get pampered because somebody else is taking care of me better than I can do for myself.
Yeah.
So,
I had somebody
yeah.
recently at work kind of explaining that same mentality to me, where they love going to the dentist. And I tried, in the middle of the appointment, I was trying to kind of shift the focus to that, because I've always had the other sense where going to the dentist is more like a chore. So I tried to shift the focus in the middle of it, being like, no, this is like getting a massage, right? It's like that. It was like a health benefit that you're getting.
Yeah, exactly.
So I tried to shift focus into that, yeah. And it actually really improved my experience a lot more, so I enjoyed that. But
Nice.
I've just never done it that way. I'm like the typical doesn't take care of his teeth. Like I've had to go through fillings and cavities and all this stuff through my childhood and everything, and just didn't enjoy the dentist because of it, right? So
yeah.
that's how I was raised, and that's my experience with them. So I'm trying to kind of change all that mentality and attitude these days, and hopefully for the better. So
Yeah,
the appointment was okay, but unfortunately there's a lot more appointments in my future to fix my teeth. So there's going to be more. Nothing too expensive or bad, but just fillings and like a good routine to keep me going. So
Well, it's all for good.
it is.
For good. Sorry, my wife has been playing that so much.
Really?
For good
Oh.
from Wicked.
Yeah, well,
And-
I've got the soundtrack in my car. I love it.
It's really? Oh, nice. Yeah, it's not
yeah.
bad. It's been stuck in my head. It's one of the songs that like I've been happy to have stuck in my head because it's really good.
No one mourns the wicked for good. Oh man, so good. Yeah. Anyways, let's move on.
All right.
Let's go to a segment I like to call Ye Old News.
Old news.
Ye Old News. So here we're going to talk about quite a few things. Let's get the first one off the bat here. Just the biggest news that happened. This was the other day. Why don't you take it away, Anth0z?
So, very unfortunate thing that happened to one of our beloved Marvel actors, but Chadwick Boseman passed away after a battle with colon cancer. A 4-year battle with colon cancer.
Which seemed to be not well known, right? I don't think many people knew this. That he was battling this?
I don't think it's widely advertised. I didn't know about it. A lot of my friends didn't know
Advertised.
about it.
The
Yeah,
Black
like
Panther.
sorry,
Battling colon
I guess.
cancer.
Publicized, I should say. Publicized, not advertised. So I don't know how many people really knew about it, but I knew in my circles it seemed like it was a shock. Also, like we see him how he looks in Black Panther and also in, what was that movie? 21 Bridges? I think so.
I've only ever seen Chadwick Boseman in the Black Panther.
Okay, so 21 Bridges is it came out maybe last year, the year before. So he plays like a New York cop, and he's trying to figure out like where all the corruption in the cops is kind of like stemming from. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, he looks good in that movie. He looked great in Black Panther. Like, you wouldn't think that he is somebody who's suffering from something, but he's resilient. And I guess people really. I watched a tribute that Marvel had for him.
Oh, I was gonna watch it. I didn't watch it yet.
It's nice. It's it gets. I don't think it's about like there's a bunch of interviews where the cast who worked with him for like cast of the MCU, they worked with him and talk about what kind of person he was, offset, and I don't think it was about. I don't think any of the interviews were taking place after he passed away, but yeah, I mean, like, obviously everybody had just really, really good things to say about him. He's like very passionate about what he does, and I think something that seemed to be very important to him was that he realized that by playing these roles, he was able to kind of, I guess, you know, like inspire people on like on a deeper level, and make them feel very, I think just make them feel very happy to be able to have a connection with somebody. And I think, you know, it was also quite, at least in my circles, it's quite a big thing where, because of Black Panther, that finally, well, I shouldn't say finally, but more African Americans had a hero or like a character that they could kind of look to for like positivity, or for playing some sort of role that usually white people get to see in, like people like Captain America or Iron Man. You know, they're not normally played by people of color. And I mean, we've had previous African superheroes. I mean, I can think of Shaft, for example. I mean, maybe he's not a superhero, but like, sure, like Blade and sorry, I didn't mean to say Shaft. I meant
Spawn.
to say Steel. Sorry, like when Shaquille O'Neal played Steel.
Oh, okay.
Right. So there are these characters, but I guess maybe they're a little bit older. So nowadays, you know, there's a little. I think there's a little bit more of an impact, I should say. So, yeah, it's sad, very sad to hear that this happened. I on an MCU aspect, I haven't really heard about like any plans for the future of Black Panther 2 regarding this. But I don't think that's something. Who knows? Maybe they'll bring it up sooner or later. But yeah, as of now, I don't think there's anything there.
Right.
But
yeah, I heard that they're going to take a while before they talk about that. But I was it the Weekly Planet? It was one of the podcasts they were mentioning that Marvel's taking a little bit of a break from worrying about the Black Panther for now. It's they don't want to step on the toes of anything, and for now it seems that the Black Panther 2 is just going to be either on hold or canceled. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which I think is fair.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, because I think nowadays maybe, well, okay, I shouldn't say nowadays more than before, but I can see how people really enjoy the actors as much as the character. So, you know, like with somebody like Chadwick Boseman, who seemed like he really touched a lot of lives, I can see how it would kind of go a little awry if they did replace him, especially if they kind of made that news. So, if they made it soon, which I doubt they would, but
right.
Yeah, so I think that kind of makes sense if they decide just to cancel altogether. Then, yeah, who knows? Yeah.
So that's unfortunately the sad news, but we got lots of other news to cover for today. But we had to get that out of the way. That's the bigger one. Yeah. Moving on as well into Disney kind of news, there has been a release or an announcement for Mandalorian Season 2. There's been a teaser image showing the logo, which is in blue with Baby Yoda still in the logo, so that looks cool.
Yeah, and that's set to arrive October 30th.
Nice. Thank you for the date. I didn't know.
Yes. You're
so
welcome.
I'll be watching that right away. I loved the first season, and second season we are going to get that appearance of Ahsoka, so I'm really excited.
I know. Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah. Also, they announced Season 3 is already up and ready to start filming and recording and all that. So
awesome.
It's known, I guess it's well known now, that the way they record it is known. The way they record those Mandalorian episodes, they do it in a studio set that's got, it's really interesting and kind of hard to explain on a podcast here, but it's done where the camera is in a virtual space and the actors are just technically on a green screen, but they can see the virtual space around them. So imagine where you've got a camera and the green screen behind you and the actors on set, except for this time, instead of it being a green banner, they can actually see a pretty good 3D rendition of exactly what the set is.
Whoa.
And then the camera is able to move and pan around in those sets. And then, even further to that, they have a computer that's rigged up to real-time modeling of that set, and they can change the set at will to whatever they want. Whoa. So they can change that set and morph it as the characters move and stuff on screen. So a lot of the Mandalorian is just done really small. It's really done on a really small scale in these little studios to make it seem larger and grander than life. So a lot of it is done like that, which is just really crazy. And watching it played out is nuts. Like even the floor, I believe, is green screen, so it all kind of melds into this huge like virtual roomscape. It's cool.
So were you actually able to see like a filming, like behind the scenes?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of behind the scenes footage you can see where they use this technology, and it's well known in a few different movies. It actually started with that movie Oblivion with Tom Cruise. But I mentioned this on last week's podcast, but the Corridor crew on YouTube, they go into a whole thing on Mandalorian and the effects, and they go into why it's a marvel for effects on, and it's really, really interesting. So
cool.
I can't recommend those guys enough. You get to learn a lot more about the behind the scenes on this kind of stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
yeah, Mandalorian season 2. Woo!
Great.
The dark
what
saber.
else? Yeah. So other than things coming out at the end of this year, apparently on HBO Max, we're going to have a Fresh Prince reunion special.
No way.
Yeah. So it looks like they're going to be filming September 10th. So it's just I think that's what did they say that's the 30th anniversary?
Wait, is Uncle Phil still alive?
No, James Avery passed away
Right.
like quite a while ago.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
Darn it.
So let's see. This thing says Will Smith and the cast, likely minus original Aunt Viv actress Janet Hubert, will go home to Bel Air on the series premiere's 30th anniversary. So,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah.
I want to see Jeffrey. I don't care about anybody else. I want to see Jeffrey.
Is he? Wait, what's Tatiana Joseph Marcel? Is that him?
I don't know.
Joseph Marcel. I feel like Joseph Marcel. Yes, that's Jeffrey. And
He's the only one I care about. On the Where Are They Now? I just want to see where Jeffrey's at.
So I see Tatiana Ali, who played Ashley. Joseph Marcel was Jeffrey. Karen Parsons was Hillary. Daphne Maxwell Reed, which I believe was like the second Aunt Viv. And then Alfonso Ribeiro was Carlton. And then DJ Jazzy Jeff will also be on it. So I didn't list Will Smith, but I assume that he's going to be...
Oh, there's no way.
Oh, Smith will be joined. Sorry.
Okay.
By actors, yeah.
I mean,
it would not
obviously
make sense. Yeah.
Seeing Carlton will be fun, but still, it's yeah.
Yeah.
I used to love that show, so that is fun.
Mm-hmm. So that's supposed to be coming, at HBO Max November.
Cool.
So get your HBO Max subscriptions, I guess.
I guess so. Speaking of subscriptions, we got Disney Plus. Mulan has now released.
Yeah.
And you can watch Mulan now for the price of, in Canada, you said it was $34.99, I believe.
I think it's $34.99.
So that's additional to your Disney Plus subscription. You pay a one-time fee, I guess, of $34.99 to get Mulan.
Yeah, one-time fee, and I think it's just like you pay to own it.
Exactly. It does say you can watch as many times as you want. I saw the advertising on that, so that's good, I guess.
As long as you have your Disney Plus subscription active.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I don't totally get. Like, I don't think it's an unreasonable amount, but I'm just shocked that that's how high it is. You know?
Yeah.
I guess I was expecting like a $5 or $10 experience, but like I understand why it's expensive. Like if you were to go to the movie, it would be quite expensive anyways. It's just I don't see many people paying for that. And like I'm somebody who I thought was probably in the demographic of people that were going to go see it in the theater, but I'm not of the demographic of people that's going to pay extra on my Disney Plus subscription to get it when I know it's coming like December 5th on Disney Plus anyways. So
is that what's coming out December 5th?
Yeah, it said on the thing like you can pay for it now to watch it early, or it will be free for everyone, or not. It'll be available on Disney Plus on like December 5th. It was quite soon, and I was like, for me, I'll just wait. Like
yeah. Well, you know what? Okay, that's a 2-month period. I feel like that's not a bad kind of tester period just to see what people would do.
Yeah, it's an interesting formula.
Yeah, and you know, like the $35 price tag. I mean, okay, you go to a theater. If at least here you can go to, if you go on a Tuesday, movie Tuesday or like half price or whatever, see a movie for like, I guess it would be about $7 for like a regular theater, not like not IMAX or not AVX,
not 3D or anything.
Just like basic bare bones theater.
Mm-hmm.
So about $7, and then if you want to get popcorn and drink and stuff, you can get a combo for maybe about like 20.
Right.
So you're paying under 30 for one person to have that experience. It must be that, you know, if they're gonna put that kind of price tag, it's because they expect people to gather in homes to watch it together.
That's a good point.
And then you split
they're
that
kind of
price
building into
the
the
people,
yeah.
right?
That's interesting. That's a good point. I will say, if this was like Star Wars, like a new Star Wars, I'd be paying that. I for sure would pay that. Like, because to me, that's not a crazy amount to watch something I actually care about. Like, unfortunately, this is Mulan, and I'm not saying it's bad. It's not something that got me enough to want to pay.
Well, also with something like Star Wars, I mean, like you have that following, like because of the storyline and how we know that, for the time being, there are some things that are unended. Like we can get a lot more of the characters in different stories that. You know, you don't want to have spoilers. You want to be able to witness it kind of like in real time,
right?
Quote unquote, right? So
yeah,
with something like Mulan, it's not like it's part of like a bigger picture thing. Like for people who have seen the Disney movie, like you know what it's about. So if you miss out on this one, like I guess getting spoilers wouldn't be the worst thing compared to something like Star Wars.
Exactly. Yeah. And my fiance and I watched the trailer again to this new Mulan, and like she really likes the old Mulan. It's one of her favorite Disney films, and so. It's hard because I used to not know much about Mulan, but now I've seen it so many times that I'm starting to really like the music to Mulan and the themes of Mulan, and I just really like that cartoon film. So watching this trailer, it's hard for me not to want to watch that.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard for me not to want to just watch the cartoon instead.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand what the movie is doing differently other than being live action. Except for like making it a totally different genre. Like it seems now like it's an action. It almost seems like a superhero film in a weird way. It seems more like a heroic Mulan movie, which.
Well, what would you classify the cartoon one as though?
Well, it's much more cartoony. It's much more humorous, right? I mean, it's a musical first and foremost, but it is musical. Also just like it's got a cartoony vibe and feel. She has a pet dragon friend sidekick.
Yeah.
She has Cricky.
It's just a little bit more like mystical, I guess, in a way.
Yeah,
because of that.
Yeah, exactly. It's got more the supernatural, I guess, but it's also just more. It's whimsical and fun. You know, it's like oh, she has to go to camp to be a man. Like that's the themes are dark and heavy. But it's never done in a dark and heavy style. Like, she's off to go kill the Huns, right? So she has to pretend to be a man and go and train to be a man with a bunch of men who all train for war and then go fight the Huns. That's quite a dark story. But it's told in such a cartoony fashion that you're laughing and joking with all these characters the whole time. Like, that's
a good point.
When we're watching the trailer to the new one, though, it's like they ripped all that away and they make it the dark and intense story.
Although I wouldn't... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, that's not necessarily bad. It just makes me think, like... The kid version of me wouldn't want to watch that. The kid version of me probably would have rather just watched the musical. Yeah. And me today, I'm much more like, you know what? I'll just watch the musical. Like, I love musicals anyways, so I'm a little bit biased, but still, like, it pulls on the wrong heartstrings, I think, when I'm like, I'd rather just watch them sing their emotions, I guess. Right. I don't know. Yeah. It's weird.
Well, I haven't seen the movie yet, but I'm going to be seeing it this weekend, and so this is just based on the trailer, but to me, it doesn't come across as a dark kind of concept. I would say sure darker compared to the cartoon, just because watching a cartoon movie makes it very easy to come across as very lighthearted. You kind of really have to force a cartoon to be dark, you know.
That's true.
At least to me. So, or maybe I just haven't seen the right movies.
You didn't watch the end of Fantasia, I guess.
It was hard for me to watch Fantasia as a kid. I was scared.
Yeah.
I was scared. But that's probably like the one thing that I can think of where I had a hard time watching. Everything else is. Well, I could probably think of some other stuff, but but like with Mulan specifically, to me that was very, very lighthearted. And yeah, this one, there is some sort of dramatic appeal to it, but I find that it's not so much dark as it is. Of course, this is just based on the trailer, but it just seems quite. I guess I just want to say adventurous, and I'm trying to think of a movie that makes me feel the same way, and I can't think
Pirates of the Caribbean.
No, I'm not thinking. No, Pirates of the Caribbean. I can see where some aspects feels a little bit darker, but like, is it Warriors of Virtue? Did you ever watch that movie?
No.
Okay, so I don't know if that is a good example, but or like Three Ninjas, for example.
Oh yeah, you've mentioned this is like your third reference to Three Ninjas on this podcast.
Well, I loved watching those movies as a kid, and like it's about that. Those are more like family movies, so I kind of see this as like. It's not like a family movie, but it is on the more adventurous side.
Right.
And we'll I'm sure once we watch, we'll have more words to say.
It's all speculation at this point.
Yeah.
I guess I'm also frustrated too because when watching the trailer, they played the music, the Reflection song, and they played it in the trailer, but like knowing that like the song's not in the movie, but you're still gonna play that anyways. I felt like I was jilted out of something. You know, I felt like they were like it was like a bait and switch. It's like, okay, this movie's not a musical. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Let's watch an action movie. Then I'm watching the trailer, and they're playing the music to the musical. It's like, don't frustrate me like that. Like, I don't want to hear the Be a Man song in the background to a training montage. But, like, if it's just the orchestral part of it, it's going to frustrate the hell out of me because that means they're building the movie on the support of a totally different film, you know? It's like,
I see.
I don't know. I'm all for, be to your own drum and doing your own thing. And I think I mentioned this the other day too. I was saying that this movie I think I would really like if it wasn't done by Disney. Like if this was because then they wouldn't have
the Russo brothers.
Yeah, sure. But like they wouldn't have the rights to the music and all that, right? And it would have been seen as different. Like Warner Brothers does a lot of Disney films. Yeah. They do Tarzan and stuff, right? Or they do Jungle Book. They do different variations on those stories. Mm-hmm. And I think if this movie was done by like Warner Brothers or something, then I probably would have a totally different outlook on it. But just the fact that it's a Disney remake of one of their cartoons and it also is trying to be so different, it kind of frustrates me, and it makes me think that when we get a Hercules remake in the future, it's going to be very, very different, and I'm just going to be more frustrated by it, right? So
yeah.
Kevin
Sorbo returns as Hercules.
Well, here's the thing. you know that Hades will be casted, but he's going to be dark and evil and brooding and like not what you want in Hades. Then people are going to be complaining that the movie's too dark. But really what it's going to be is that they didn't go the right direction for it. Like Hades is so good because he's comedic. He's like sarcastic and comedic and evil, but like fun. Like Ursula is. But if you start making all these people so dark and gritty and trying to add realism to it, you're taking away the Disney quote-unquote magic, I think.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's my 2 cents. I haven't seen the film, so I don't know. I'm just using this as a springboard to talk about more, I guess. But,
okay, well, we will.
Yes. What else you got?
Let's see. Oh, okay, so... sorry, this is just to kind of go back and finish off MCU talk.
Oh, yeah.
But apparently they have retitled the Eternals movie.
Oh, I forgot that was a thing.
So, yeah. So it used to be called The Eternals. Now it's called Eternals. So they did the whole Facebook thing.
Drop
Facebook is now Facebook. Yeah.
It's cooler.
Yeah. Just be to the point. So anyway, there's that small bit of news. My other news, I got a couple more things, but this one, so we're currently celebrating, and by we I mean everybody in the world is celebrating Super Mario 35th anniversary.
Oh wow, 35 years.
Yeah, so there was a Nintendo Direct recently, and so they announced like a whole bunch of games coming up, and actually not just games, but also, well, not consoles, but like remastered versions of things we used to play before. So one being Game & Watch. So
nice.
They're kind of like remaking the Game & Watch with like new colored crystal screens, blah blah blah, and
that would be like a cool thing to have in the house, just like a nice little like blast in the past kind of thing. Mm-hmm. That's sweet.
So with this one, I didn't know much about Game & Watch in the first place, but this one, so you can actually play. I think you can play the original Mario on this one.
Oh wow!
I think that's what you're able to do. I can't quite remember now, but that's a thing. There's gonna be let's see. Oh, Super Mario 3D All Stars, which is supposed to come out September 18th on the Switch, and so this one includes Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. And so it's all in like one package game.
Oh, that's really cool.
There's also albums, so I think you can go into like a music mode and just listen to the songs from each of the games.
Oh, that's awesome. I love those all-star mash-em-ups. I'm glad they're actually kind of keeping that trend going. That's really cool. Mm-hmm. So, sorry, it was Sunshine, no, 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy?
And Galaxy. Yeah.
So there might be one in the future for like a Galaxy 2, Odyssey, and whatever the next one would be?
Probably. Like, I guess that must be the thing, right? That
Interesting.
They want to lead to,
that's cool.
Finishing those off.
That excites me.
Yeah. October 1st, Super Mario Bros. 35. So you're playing the original, well, Nintendo version Super Mario Brothers, but with 35 people. So it's like, like Tetris Attack, where you have your blocks where you have to clear, and you send your stuff, you send what you've cleared to other people.
Yeah.
So in this one, the more enemies you kill, the more that you send them to other people, but then vice versa.
That's smart. I love that.
So it looks really chaotic though.
This is crazy. This is going to turn to an event to watch this kind of stuff.
Yeah, oh for sure. This will turn into an event, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. So this one is about you either like are the first one to finish the level or just the last one to survive or something like that.
Okay, so it's pretty much what are those called again? I can't remember. Those Royal Rumble tournament things, whatever they're called.
Kind of like that Battle Royale.
Battle Royale, thank you. That's the title. Because there was a Tetris 100 as well, the same concept.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So I mean, those are getting really popular, but yeah, so it's that concept, but I like that. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. And then what else? So just to kind of go through these, but there's Pikmin 3 Deluxe coming October 30th.
Ooh.
The Game & Watch, the Super Mario Bros. One I mentioned, coming November 13th.
Yeah, I took a look at that. That thing looks really nice.
Yeah.
It does play the original Mario Bros., right? Well, I shouldn't say the original Super Mario Bros., not the original Mario Bros.
Oh, like the Super Nintendo one?
No, the
Nintendo.
Yeah, Super Mario Bros. The Mario Bros. Game is that old arcade one with the pipes, and you can go like left and right and hit the turtles or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Right. And then Mario Kart Live Home Circuit is coming November 16th. So this is I guess that they're kind of like going a little bit further with what they did with the amiibos. So amiibos were, you know, figures that you can buy that become characters that you can play and train. So you don't play as them, but you play against, or you train them in Smash Bros. But in other games, like say for example Mario Kart, you could get outfits from those amiibos.
Oh yeah.
So they basically hold data. For Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, you're gonna get these little carts, like physical carts. You can get like Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Toad, I think, and you get them. You can also get these little like finish lines and like starting points. So you place them in your home, and you build kind of like a virtual track. And as you're racing in the game, you're controlling the actual cart, so they're moving around in your home.
Wow!
But on your Switch screen, you see as if you're like
playing the game
view of like from the view of your toy, because those carts have cameras on them.
In concept, this is amazing. Like on paper, this sounds great. I don't know if it'll work well in real life. But that's like what I'm so happy about is that this is Nintendo going full circle and becoming a toy company again. Like that's insane. They've gone right back to their roots now. Like back when they had like Rob the Robot and stuff, like they used to be a toy company as well as a video game company. That's how they sold it, because the video game crash that had happened after Atari. So they tried to sell more their toy brand. And then they were like, okay, and then they slowly got people into NES, and that's when everyone was like, whoa, video games are cool again, and they sell and all this stuff, right? But now they've like gone full circle, and they're back to like, no, our games are also toys. It's like, oh, crazy. Like, well done, Nintendo. I applaud them. They're nuts.
And I guess they are. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, they're definitely setting themselves apart from PlayStation and Xbox. Like they don't do anything like this, right? And I don't think they ever will, because they just don't need to.
No, definitely. And it's risky. It's for sure risky.
It is.
But
seems
to pay off for Nintendo, but it's quite risky.
Well, that's the market that Nintendo has. You know, they have. I think they're the more. I think they've always been more of like the family and like kid oriented and like party pack kind of console or platform. So with this one, I mean, like we have the amiibos. This is kind of a departure of amiibos, and I also find it's kind of like a departure of the Labo thing. I didn't really get into the Labo at all, but like Labo, it's.
That was the cardboard one.
Yeah, but the idea is like to have more like physicality aspect to it. I don't know much more than that, but I guess I can kind of see how this would be a departure from that. What else? In the last one of the last game announcements for Mario, Super Mario 3D World Plus. Bowser's Fury, coming out February 12th. So this one, they advertised it as saying like now there's, I think, online multiplayer.
Oh.
So that means, I guess, you could just play with people rather than playing like co-op, because I think it was limited to co-op before, but now it's online multiplayer.
Okay.
I think. If I paid attention to the video properly, which I might not have, but that's what it could mean.
Okay. Yeah. So I didn't really, like, this game was really popular. People seem to enjoy it quite a bit. I'm not a big fan of the 3D games. Actually, as a whole, I'm not really a big fan of the 3D Mario games. That being said, I think there's some good moments at Super Mario 64, Sunshine, and Odyssey, and Galaxy, actually. But I think that they're good for a different kind of reason. But they're not really my style of Mario. I like the more platformer kind of based stuff.
Yeah.
But the 3DS one, the Super Mario 3D World, and then on the Wii U, I believe, when they did the 3D one there, I just didn't enjoy them. They're a different kind of Mario to me that I don't like.
Okay. So, I kind of found that throughout the iterations after 64. So like I think I mentioned this to you before, but like I didn't get into Mario Sunshine.
That was so common, but I love that one.
You loved it. I remember that. Yeah. And but then now I kind of want to. I think after hearing the music, because the more that So when I was listening to so the direct was playing some music from, or some clips from 64, Sunshine, Galaxy, Galaxy 2, and Odyssey. And Odyssey. The music throughout all of them, I think Odyssey is like the most like jazzy big band kind of style.
I love Odyssey's music. Like that's so good.
It is really nice. Yeah. But then the music that I was hearing from Galaxy, for example, was like, it was kind of hooking me in. It's like, oh man, I want to play it just so I can hear the music. Like I want to be in this level hearing this song.
When I work, I normally put on background music from video games, and I've used like the Mario soundtracks quite a bit for just like throwing on something in the background. But yeah, like Galaxy 2 and Odyssey both have really good tracks. Yeah.
Okay, just because I have to mention this, but one of my most favorite Mario songs ever in life is I think it's from Dire Docks.
Oh yeah, that one's really popular. Like
the
really
underwater one,
popular.
right?
Yes.
Right, where you visit the eels and
if you type
so
in like
nice.
Mario songs, or like if you're looking at piano music and you want to watch like people playing piano songs in video games and all that, Dire Docks comes up a lot. It's one of the popular ones.
it's just something about it. It's just got like such a good vibe to it.
Yeah.
For me, it kind of makes me feel like I get that kind of nostalgic feeling just hearing that song.
Oh yeah.
And not because it's like it's an old song that I used to hear, but something about like the tones. I don't know. It's so hard to explain. It's just such a good song.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So that's my Mario news. How about you?
That's a lot of Mario news. More video game news, though, I got. Jumping off of that, we got Doom Eternal, one of my favorite games. Especially of this year. That's my game of the year still. Two great games this year. Bannerlord, Mountain Blade 2. Still in beta, though. A lot of people are mad about the beta access of it. I still really enjoy that game. But Doom Eternal takes the cake. By far the best first-person shooter I've played in a long time. But anyways, it's got DLC, storyline DLC coming out, which is a big deal because Doom hasn't had storyline DLC come out since Doom 3 back in like 2000, I want to say 6, maybe even 5. So
Holy.
this is more story to come out for Doom, which is great because Eternal's just been banging with like more Doom story for everyone, because there's a lot to like there's a lot that we all kind of want to know about the character, and the games they really like they only give you little bits of data for all these characters. So it's nice to get more and more. So the new one coming out, I'm very excited about. I want to know more about the Doom guy and what we can discover.
The Doom guy.
Yeah, that's what we used to call him, was Doom guys.
Mr. Doom guy.
The new DLC is called The Ancient Gods. Another reason why it's a big deal. Oh, by the way, I think it's coming out in November.
Nice.
Late November, I think. I can't remember. The reason why it's also a big deal is because Mick Gordon normally does the soundtrack to the Doom games, and Doom from 2016 and Doom Eternal both were done by Mick Gordon for the soundtrack, which has kind of become like synonymous with Doom. The new soundtrack is really intense and really heavy metal, has a specific sound to it, and people when you hear that, you're like, oh, that's Doom for sure. But unfortunately there was a falling out between Mick Gordon and Bethesda. I believe it might have been id Software, and that was, I don't know, we talked about it like months ago, and so he stopped and kind of fell away from the project. So now that there's DLC, they have to make more music, and he can't do it, so they have to get somebody else to come in. So this is actually a really exciting moment where somebody else has to come in and make new tracks. Now, I don't know, this could be awful, but it also could be amazing. So I'm really excited to see it. And I was just checking the Twitter of one of the guys, and he was mentioning that they're working on it now. So I'm really excited to see what kind of tracks we get out of this, because I'm a big fan of the music for Doom Eternal. So
Oh boy.
it's really good study music when I'm working. It's usually better for working out, actually, but still, it's good music all around. But anyways,
nice.
So that I'm really excited for this DLC. We'll talk more about it when it comes out. But yeah,
Okay,
that's
cool.
my Doom news.
Nice.
Doos.
I got one more.
Okay.
And it is I didn't really look much into it because I wasn't too pressed to kind of figure it out, but apparently there's going to be a new competitor to Tesla's electric truck.
No way.
it's in
Cybertruck
the-
gets a competitor?
Yeah, and it's in the form of a partnership between GM and Nikola. So yeah, I apparently there's a
No
company called
way.
Nikola.
No
So it's
way.
Nikola versus
That's
Tesla.
insane.
Yeah,
Nikola versus Tesla. Wow.
I'm not even sure. I should look up like what they do, but like, okay, Nikola.
I feel like they bought them for the name alone.
Probably, yeah. Nikola Motor Company designs and manufactures electric components, drivetrains, and vehicles, including the Nikola 1 and Nikola 2 electric semi-trucks. So,
Oh
I mean,
my gosh.
maybe they've been around for quite some time, and I just never heard of them. But like, I'm not a huge car guy, but yeah. So that's apparently gonna happen. That Nikola and GM team up to fight the Tesla Cybertruck.
That's kind of funny. I'm excited to see what this goes. This is only good for us, the consumers. The more competition you have in this field, it's just better for all of us. So.
Yeah, true. I think it's just going to make it like we'll have more opportunities for people to enter like the electric vehicle aspect, right? So
Yeah, that's
is
really
good.
cool.
yeah,
Wow. My last news
Wow.
is on the different side. I've never talked about this. So boxing.
Yeah.
Which I don't really
What's
watch
that?
all that much, but recently I've been watching some more. I was actually studying for a game I was trying to work on, and I was doing all these boxing things and getting really deep diving into boxing. Anyways, I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast not that long ago, and Mike Tyson was on, and Joe was asking him like, "Oh, are you ever gonna box again?" And he was much more like subdued these days, much more calm, and I think he's late 50s now, might be early 60s, so he's
Yeah.
a bit old, or maybe he's like 56 actually. So he's quite old for boxing at least. So when he was talking to Joe, he was saying that those days are done, and he doesn't want to be that guy, that angry person anymore. He just kind of wants to be more subdued and calm. And then it's funny because it was maybe 2 weeks later after that, there was a video posted, and he was training again, and he was suddenly like boxing, and it was crazy. You can watch the video online, but he's just like, he looks nuts, like he's back to the old Mike Tyson ways. And so he actually had a podcast recently with Joe Rogan again, came back on, I think it was about a week ago. And he started talking about his new event. So it turns out he's going to be fighting again. I can't remember the opponent, but it's also another older boxer who's coming back into the ring. So it's going to be one of these kind of like super boxing fights, which is more just like for the show than it is anything else. And I believe all the money's going towards charity.
Cool.
So this is similar to when there was that UFC fighter, blanking on his name right now, who fought to that other professional boxer, blanking on his name right now.
Floyd Mayweather.
Yes, Floyd Mayweather versus...
And Conor McGregor.
Thank you, Conor McGregor.
McGregor.
So it's going to be similar to that, I think, where it's more about the spectacle than it is about the actual sport. But I don't know. I mean, from the interview, it sounded like Mike Tyson was ready to continue after this and possibly go back to maybe contend again and try to be a champion. So
I actually did remember hearing something about this maybe a few weeks back, and I think there was something about people speculating about him entering a boxing match again, but there was also something else with him entering like a UFC match or some other, or like a wrestling match.
There was talk. He's got
something?
His manager right now is a UFC manager, and there was talk about him doing a UFC fight. I don't believe he's going to. It didn't sound like that, at least on the Joe Rogan podcast. It sounded like he's more interested in just the boxing aspect.
Yeah.
It's going to be November 28th for the fight, and it's going to be against Roy Jones Jr. Apparently is the other boxer's name. Now, what's crazy is these guys, they both just look great for their age. Like,
jeez,
they're both like ready to fight. So I'm pretty excited about this. It's gonna be fun to watch them get back into the ring. Mike Tyson's very 80s pop culture, and it's interesting that it's come back in full force in 2020, when a time when we're really nostalgic for the 80s period, it seems. So it's fun to come back to this and see the champions fight again, I guess. Now, will it be like a FUD kind of night? I don't know. Maybe it's like a dud. I don't know. But at the same time, I'll be watching. So anybody else is interested, check it out. It looks kind of cool.
Man, that's crazy. So he's 54. He's born June 30th, 1966.
Yeah.
And then, if you just search up Mike Tyson on Google, you can see just his overall record. So total fights 58. Wins by knockout. 44. Yeah. Wins to losses is 50-6. Like, that's crazy. I mean, I don't really know a lot about records, but that seems pretty impressive to me.
And watching him too, like his knockouts. When you watch him wrestle, he's a completely different boxer than
Than a wrestler, for sure.
Than a wrestler. I'm such a novice coming in from the outside and watching these fights, but when I'm watching George Foreman in a boxing match, or when I'm watching like Muhammad Ali fight, and then get to Mike Tyson, he's a completely different style. It's just nuts watching him fight.
Different kind of energy.
He's like this like gorilla that comes into the stage and just like this brooding force, and just like the other guy never has a shot. It's just like one hit and he's down already. Like it's always crazy watching how fast he can knock someone out. But, it's like
the difference of like Bruce Lee versus Chuck Norris or something like that. Like Bruce Lee wiping the floor with like anybody.
Well, it's a spectacle marvel, and I'm excited to see where it goes. So in a way, it's almost like bringing back a movie and doing like a reboot of the movie kind of thing, but they're like trying to pass the torch almost. This is like that happening, but in real life. So
cool.
Well, that's all my news.
Very nice. We're done.
That's the news. Okay, so let's get into the topic of the day. I did warn you there was a lot of news today, but that's fine.
It's all good.
Let's get into the topic of the day, and this topic I just wanted to talk about because I was going to talk about this weeks ago, but I finally now have the platform to talk about it. Figured let's do it. So
let's do it.
I want to talk about the European Speedrunner Assembly. So
no, let's stop. Let's not do this anymore. No, I'm not into it. Nope.
You may remember I mentioned in past podcasts where I talked about AGDQ or SGDQ, which is the Summer Games Done Quick, or the Awesome Games Done Quick, or sometimes the Awful Games Done Quick, however it's done.
Okay.
And those are charity events where live speedrunners will speedrun their games, and everybody gets to watch online. And this year's been kind of interesting with COVID, actually, so everybody's doing it remotely, but it's still happening. So that's been fun to watch. So that's been the event. Now, there's been some controversial things with the event. Sometimes runners get in when they technically shouldn't have got in, and other runners should have got in, or there's been speculation on where the charity money is going. And I'm not here to say yes or no to any of that kind of stuff. It's just that because there was speculation, there's been other kind of speedrunning groups that try to make their own thing. But this new one, the European Speedrunner Assembly, I'm just going to pull them up. They have been kind of running on full force now, and they've got a high production quality kind of gig going on, and you can watch them on Twitch now, and it's just pretty much the AGDQ stuff done, but it's much more esport looking. And that's really where I wanted to take this topic is speedrunning in general, in my opinion. Now, this has been going on for a while, but it seems to be much more official these days, is that speedrunning is an esport, and it's becoming quite competitive. And that is literally what speedrunning is. It's a competition for who can beat a game the fastest, right? So it's been going on since the early aught days. But still, even saying that, though, it's never really seen as an esport the way that, let's say, Dota is, or League of Legends, or any of that kind of stuff, those kind of games. And these days, it's getting to there. We literally have like the announcers and the hosts. We have the fans cheering them on. We have them all racing head to head against each other. And I think that the European Speedrunner Assembly is doing this better than I've seen anywhere else. Now, I don't know if I should necessarily be comparing it to AGDQ or SGDQ, but just looking at the two of them, the European Speedrunner Assembly is much more of like an event, a show. It's like going to PAX or something, or it's like going to the International and watching like your favorite heroes like fight against each other. So recently, there's been some cool things that have happened where they've done. There was an event called Break the Record Live, and this is crazy. They get like the 12 top speedrunners to a certain game, and they will all go to this one building where they film them all, and they live stream their stuff on Twitch, and everybody's trying to break the world record to that game at the same time.
At the same time?
Yes.
Oh,
so you've got like 12 Twitch streams all up at once, and they're all trying to break this record. And this actually,
you know what that kind of reminds me of?
What?
Did you ever watch the movie The Wizard?
The Wizard? Yes, it's just like The Wizard.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I know.
Or like Video and Arcade Top 10. Because they would kind of do the same thing. Yeah.
Well, there was recently, I wish I remembered, I think the speedrunner's name is Cheese? Yeah, it looks like it is. Cheese.
Nice.
Yeah. And so he recently had done, well, it's been broken now, unfortunately, but he actually got the world record to one of the categories in Super Mario 64.
Cool.
I can't remember what category, the 120 star category, I believe. But what's crazy is you had 12 of these runners all running Super Mario 64 live. Everyone's watching now this live event. And I believe there was money on the line, but I know a lot of money goes to charity as well, so I don't know if the runners actually make money themselves, but I believe they do at the event too. So it is much more about the competition base. But again, there is a whole charity aspect to European Speedrunner Assembly as well. So I know a lot of money goes to a good cause from it. But anyways, so he had beat the record while he was doing this live event. It was like 4 or 5 days into it. And he was still he was running his thing, and he just kept running and running and running. And then boom, he just was on a good streak and broke it live. And you can watch the video, and it's crazy. I love these videos where you watch a speedrunner break their record, and you see them just break down. They're just like crying and they're in tears, and you got everybody starts running up to them and hugging them, and they've just broken a world record. And it's so much fun to watch. But I get really into it now, just the whole speedrunner kind of mentality and whatnot. So they've been doing these Break the Record live challenges. They also did Doom Eternal not that long ago, and they had a Doom Eternal 100% run where people were going on and trying to beat Doom Eternal and break the record there. So it's been getting pretty popular. And then, like I said, the head-to-head races, they're now getting professional speedrunners to come on and race. And it, like I said, in the competitive nature, where it's almost like watching a boxing match or something, like you're watching them trying to beat each other at that race or whatever, and then they get the respect of winning that race. And then whoever is the world record leader is then, kind of, I don't know, they're kind of the champion for the bit, and then there's always some young guy who comes up who wants to beat the champion, and he has a better time, and then they go after each other and stuff, and it's just, I don't know, it's kind of fun. You get this whole sport out of the whole thing. So
yeah. Cool.
I wanted to mention this last time I saw it, because it's just so much fun to watch sometimes, but yeah. Anyways, now that there have been some record-breaking things, the Mario category has been broken down, I believe, twice more since Cheese did it back in February. So,
so as in, like, when you say they're breaking, breaking categories, you say?
Yeah. So Super Mario 64 is broken down into a few different speedrunning categories.
Okay.
One of them is the 120 star, which I believe is just get 120 stars. There is also like a 1-star challenge, which is like you get 1, then you beat Bowser and you beat the game. And that one was broken this year as well. Somebody did it in like 7 minutes, I think, is the current record, somewhere around there. Yeah, so that's a fun challenge. There's also another category, I think, is just the storyline stars. So I want to say it's like a 28-star category or something, and it's also popular. Maybe it's actually more like 70 stars, but Anyway, so that one's popular. But there's a really good video for anybody who's interested in the whole speedrunning stuff. There's 2 really good YouTubers that break this stuff down. So one YouTuber to watch is called Summoning Salt. He's probably the most popular, and he breaks down different games. So I just watched one last night called Castlevania, and it was the history of speedrunning in Castlevania. It's quite a long, in-depth, detailed version of what's happened, but it shows you back from like 2004 all the way up until now on how people have broken different things, and it really gets into the minute detail of what these speedrunners have to go through, and it's amazing. So it's really good. So Summoning Salt is one. The other one is Apollo Legend. Now he's actually a speedrunner himself, and he's amazing. So he runs GoldenEye, but he also does videos showing people kind of what speedrunners are all about. But he does a really good video. It's not that long ago. He made this video. It's called "The Beautiful Moment in Speedrunning," I think, and it showed one of the Super Mario guys break the record live. And he breaks this record, and his parents are there. And it's just such a wholesome moment when this kid breaks this record. And it's a really good video to watch. But it's funny how I've been watching speedrunning stuff now for maybe 5 years, I think. Yeah, on and off for about 5 years. Now, when I first started watching it, it felt small. But it was probably quite big back then, too. It's just, to me, it felt small. These days, though, I'm starting to see it pop up everywhere. Speedrunning is starting to become like a gigantic force of, like I said, esports. So I'm really excited to see where this is going, and I think this whole European Speedrunners Assembly, I think this is really the start of it hitting to big events where you could go see live speedrunners at a show somewhere and watch them break this game's record live, like yourself in person in the stands and stuff. Like that's where it's going, I guess, and I'm excited. It gets me really pumped.
That's cool. That's like because we did talk about how before that we did know that there's a big following for that. Like it's. For people who like to watch streams, is because they get a chance to, like, they might not necessarily be a gamer themselves or as much of a gamer, but they really enjoy being able to watch somebody else play, because
for sure they
can kind of, it's like they get a chance to play vicariously, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah.
So like, they get to experience these things with the players. They get to get really involved. They get to kind of learn more about the game and some of the mechanics too. So I think, yeah, there's definitely something that like, I guess the idea of speedrunning being in more of like a mainstream kind of esport, I think that's totally valid, totally something that could happen. And it sounds like it's almost like that's probably where some of the esports today started, right? They had to start somewhere where there was just like a small following, and then eventually picks up enough traction because it just, like, the news of it starts spreading. People just, people are really into it. I think nowadays too, there are a lot more people into games than there ever used to be.
For sure. Yeah.
And I don't think that is necessarily just because there are more games available, but I think maybe it's just the idea of games has kind of just changed over time. Like, maybe in the beginning it just used to be like just like a fun thing to do on the side. But, there's so many different types of games. There's some games where it's meant for, I guess, like like training you in some way. That's not just like, hey, like, check out my story, but there's like brain games or like stuff where it's actually meant to, like, kind of enhance you in some way.
Right.
There's typing games, like, you increase your typing speed. I mean, that's something on the smaller scale, but the point I'm just trying to make is that there's such a wide range of types of games that I find that now the idea, like, just the overarching concept of games has changed to the point where, like, it's cool, I guess, in a way, to, like, follow what's happening with the gaming industry in a way.
Yeah.
So I just noticed that. So I searched for Summoning Salt, and I'm just scrubbing through the list of videos. There's one that's the history of blindfolded Punch-Out.
Oh yeah, that's a really good video. So there's a whole another aspect to speedrunning where some people do blindfolded speedruns, and it's all based on sound cues, and it is nuts. It's really fun to watch. But yeah, that's a good video to watch. Yeah, I mean, speedrunning, one really thing, like, sorry, so going back to what you were saying too, the fighting games, like the tournament kind of style games, it's fun watching videos from like 2005, like way back when these fighting tournaments where, like, people play Street Fighter or whatnot are so, like, small scale compared to how they are now, where they're like massive audiences watching these people fight. But that's kind of like speedrunning too. Like, back then it was much more small scale, people, basements, kind of just like trying to break records, and then they put them up on the Games Done Quick kind of website, right? Yeah. And what's crazy is that speedrunning, why I like speedrunning the most, I think, is it's more about a meta game. Speedrunning is like defining the boundaries to your own kind of game within a game, and then you're trying to get through that game as fast as you can. That's your defined boundary, I guess. And
Yeah.
so that's a perfect example right there is Punch-Out. The speedrunning category to Punch-Out is already so fun and so much fun to watch. It's a great category. It's an insane fight. By the time you get to Mike Tyson at the end and Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, there's these specific frame perfect inputs that these speedrunners have to put in. If they do, then they can get to that next level where they're canceling out kind of like a phase for the boss. And it's so much fun to watch. But what's crazy is then somebody out of nowhere said, let's do it blindfolded. They just defined a new rule, and then that became a new category. It's now, okay, well, there's the Punch-Out speedruns, then there's the blindfolded Punch-Out speedruns, right? And that's just nuts in itself. Like, that's its own thing. And like I said with Super Mario 64, there's a good, 8 categories to that game. I'm sure there's a lot more, but there's a good, solid 8 ones that are very high esteemed, So it's crazy how they all get defined as metagames within a game.
Yeah. With the blindfolded Punch-Out one, I was just watching, I'm just kind of just going through it, and there was one, maybe a set of 30 seconds where he goes through maybe 5 different people that five different characters that he beats.
Yeah.
And each time he beats one, he takes this deep breath. It's just he actually physically went through this fight or something like that, right?
It's pretty typical for speedrunners to have a rag or something nearby, and they're wiping their hands because they're full of sweat, and then they go back to the next level kind of thing. So it's...
Well, yeah, they can't make a mistake, right?
No.
At all.
And a lot of these games, like the Ninja Gaiden one that Summoning Salt does, is an insane speedrun where there's a lot on the line all the time. You're almost never... You don't get a break, really. I mean, it's I think the record is around 20 minutes or so. So it doesn't take long to get through the game. But that's 20 solid minutes of focus. And if you screw up,
that's right.
You start it back again at 0,
And there's another 20 minutes that you got to try again. Yeah.
The last thing I'll say about speedrunning is that another great aspect of it is just that it breathes life into any game. So now you can play the worst games ever. One of my favorite ones was Awful Games Done Quick just last year, and it was an Animorphs game that no one has played.
They made a game?
It's an awful Animorphs game, and it was some guy decided to make this his speedrunning game, and it's hilarious. The audience starts laughing with him. They all start joking. It's very much like a Pokemon clone, and you capture these animals and you make them fight each other. And it was just so much fun to sit there with this guy and watch him play this awful game, but he knows the game inside and out, right? So that he can speedrun it. And that's what makes it fun. It reminds me a lot of Ready Player One at the very end, at the movie at least, where he's narrating the game, where he's showing I can't remember the guy's name, but he's showing the game Adventure, and he's showing the Easter egg bug, and it's like a Twitch stream. He's narrating to everybody what he likes about this game and why the game is so awesome, right? And that is the same kind of thing, but in real life, in this awful Games Done Quick, where the guy's playing Animorphs. It's so great.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. So that's probably one of my favorite parts about speedrunning too, is that it breathes life into any game because of the metagame. So a game that I would never play, Super Monkey Ball, which is really popular to a lot of people, but I would never play it, could possibly be a game I'd play if there's rules set to make the game more fun for me. So now I play it, right? There's a meta game, there's a competition that's in this metaverse, which I enjoy. So
yeah, I definitely know what you mean. It's when you set up your own goals, especially if you do it amongst friends too.
Exactly.
Because then you get a chance.
Well, it's a community now. Yeah.
It's a community. It's a little bit more friendly competition too. If everybody gets in on it. And then I'm finding another one. This is by Zallard1. I don't know if that's a YouTube person who just tends to put up speedrun stuff. But Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, 2-player, 1-controller, blindfolded speedrun.
Oh my gosh!
With Sinister One and AGDQ 2020. So it's 2 guys that
I gotta
are
watch
blindfolded
that.
playing on 1 controller,
That's
playing
crazy.
Punch-Out.
Wow.
Oh man! So talk about creating your own rules.
Yeah, exactly. But then it becomes a thing, and then you know what? What's hilarious is the age-old rule is that every time somebody says a record will never be broken, like that one there, everyone's like, that's ridiculous. And then they go, okay, well, those guys won it. That'll never be broken. Then about a year later, somebody comes out of nowhere and breaks that record. It's just nuts. A good example of that is on Summoning Salt, he does Wii Sports Golf. You would never know that Wii Sports Golf has a whole speedrunning thing. That video is fascinating. There are many speedrunners, including the top Mario speedrunners, that decided randomly to just start doing Wii Sports Golf. And it's a great category.
I see that right in front of me. Yeah,
like,
the history
golf-
of Wii Sports Resort Golf World Records.
Yeah, and that
1.8 million views.
That one is like with a Wiimote, so there's like a virtual component to it. So as a speedrunner, that's got to be difficult. You got to line up your shots perfectly, right?
Yeah.
But these guys take it to like the craziest levels. It's nuts. And as proof, my fiance, who's she won't spend a lot of time watching the stupid videos I watch, because I watch a lot of stupid videos on YouTube. I put on the Castlevania one from Summoning Salt the other day.
Yeah.
And she was just glued to the TV. It was entertaining to her because it's fun watching these random no-name people do random things you don't understand in a game you might not know very well, and then watch them succeed at it. And the way the video happens, you just get so sucked in. It's so much fun. So
I think also sometimes it has to do with like, at least when I watch golf, like it's obviously very satisfying to watch somebody get the small ball into a hole, right?
Yes.
Like it's not
like
an
do it
easy
really
thing
well.
to do.
Like you're watching
do it
people
really
play
well,
it very well.
and
Yeah.
do it quick. So it's like, those video compilations where it's just like satisfying things happening.
Oh,
where,
yeah,
like
yeah.
somebody cuts like a perfect circle, I don't know, like pasta noodle or something
Yeah.
like that. I don't know, or
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I can see where like watching something like Wii Sports Resort Golf World, like you'd get that feeling. Like you see somebody just like nail it, get right on the green in one shot, and then get into the hole like right after. It's like, oh man, yeah, like keep going kind of thing.
And that's how I feel with Super Mario 64, because I've never been very good at that game. I can't control the 3D space in that game. It's so mind-boggling to me. The camera's weird, and the control is like probably very accurate, and that's why I find it so hard. I'm really bad at controlling Mario in that game. But anyways, that's why watching speedrunners do Mario 64 is just insane. That is it's a masterpiece watching those guys. There are the craziest things they do in it, but just the precision of Mario's jumps and everything, you just like bow in awe because they're so good.
Yeah, it's really cool to see the actual mechanics that somebody can get into a controller, especially like all these different kinds of controllers.
It's like a musical instrument. It's very similar to watching somebody who's like a master at violin or somebody's a master at piano, and just watching them play. It's so satisfying because you're like, God, that's so good. That's what it's like when you're watching one of these speedrunners play these games, because they're just so good at mastering that controller and the controls on screen that are interacting with that.
Yeah, I remember watching, I'm not sure if this is related to speedrunning, but this is probably just like overall gameplay, but I remember seeing a pro player, I think they were holding it might have been an N64 controller, so it's probably a speed run, but they were holding it with the N64 controller has like 3 grips. There's like the ones on the sides and in the middle.
Yep.
So he's holding his left hand on the middle where the joystick is, and then the right hand has like the rest of the buttons, like A, B, the C, and the C stick. Is that C stick? No, sorry, C stick is GameCube. There, and the C direction arrows buttons.
There's a C stick on the N64.
Is there?
Yeah, right above the start button. Oh, I'm sorry. It's not a C stick. No, I'm sorry. Just an analog stick. I'm sorry. I see what you're saying now. Yeah.
Yeah.
GameCube had the C stick. You're right. And then it was just directional arrows. Yep.
Anyway, so yeah, like normally people just hold it like they grip it, and then only their thumbs are touching the buttons and the joystick.
Right.
But I remember that the person was switching his right hand from grip, so using his thumbs, to changing to his what do you call it, like index finger, and middle finger. Yeah, and like kind of go back and forth because he has to get like that specific combination and like timing and like flow between the buttons. It's like,
that's nuts.
It's really it's cool to see, actually, just like to know that people are, it's not necessarily thinking outside of the box per se, but it's more just like, what can I do to make this more efficient?
Well, Mario Odyssey is quickly becoming a really interesting one to watch as well. I watched one last night, and the Mario Odyssey speedrun is fun because there is motion controls in Mario Odyssey. So the people, to master a lot of the Mario controls, these people have to add their motion controls to it. And the speedrunner was mentioning last night about how, it's a little bit difficult at first, but once you get used to it, it's quite easy. And I don't know, there's a lot of movement to Mario Odyssey. It's a very, very good game for speedrunning. But there's a few moments where like you are either in a vehicle or something that you need more motion with the motion controller. And he was explaining how most of it can just be done by flipping the controller upside down. He's like, to make it as fast as possible. So while he was doing it, he just showed. He's like, and here we go. And I think he was a fish or something. I can't remember what he did. But he took the control of something and just flipped it upside down. And he just went as fast as possible immediately. Oh. He's just like, as soon as somebody told me that rocked my world. It's like, nice. Awesome. Yeah. So anyways, that's about it for speedrunning. I mention it probably every 5th or 6th podcast I talk about speedrunning, but I love this. It's getting better and bigger, and it's just fun. And no, I'm not a speedrunner at all, but I love the culture of it. I think it's very cool.
Yeah, you don't have to be a speedrunner to get into watching speedrunning.
No, it's very entertaining, nice. And it makes me love video games more. Like, it's a weird video game culture thing that makes me like them more. It's not one game in particular. It's every game, and it's celebrating every game. I don't know. It's really, really cool. So I like it.
Yeah. I'm so interested to see some of these games now. I'm
Yeah,
seeing one where it's
the videos are long,
Titan.
but I recommend them. They're all good.
Yeah, like this one it's 2 hours, but Attack on Titan, Wings of Freedom, any % female Titan. I don't know what that means, but I'm intrigued.
You don't always have to stick in to watch a whole speedrunning session. In fact, I do find Summoning Salt's videos a little bit better than watching a speedrunner, just because Summoning Salt gives you the culture of the whole game, which is more fun to watch, I think, because it goes to the whole history of it, and you get to learn a lot. But after you watch a few of his videos, you start to really want to watch some of these speedrunners live. So then you go and, yeah, then you have your fun.
I forgot. Have you seen a speedrunner live?
Yeah, there's, oh gosh, I can't remember his name right now. There's a guy I watch all the time who does Ninja Gaiden, typically. I don't have my Twitch account here right now, unfortunately. He wears a cowboy hat. He's really funny. He's got this nice, like, Burt Reynolds mustache. Wears a cowboy hat. But
Nice.
yeah, he's an awesome guy.
Okay, cool. Like, but I don't mean like live streaming, but like in person. Have you gone to?
Oh, I'm sorry.
to
No,
watch
I haven't gone live to watch speedrunners, no.
Okay, but you probably would.
If it was around, like if Vancouver is doing it, I would totally do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
I wonder if they ever did.
There
There must have been something.
I think they already have, yeah, a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a Vancouver studio that was doing the sound for SGDQ, and back then they were talking about how they'd host like little private ones sometimes. So that was kind of cool too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyways, that's my topic.
Alright.
That's what I've got.
Great.
Anth0z, I think that's our whole episode.
Great.
The rest of my notes say skip, skippity skip. So
Cool. Well, we'll just skip the
Skip along.
Skip the next topic. Skip the end.
skip it all.
We'll skip next episode.
Message in a bottle. Remember that? Skip it all.
Holy, yeah! Wow, throwback.
Anyways, Anth0z, I just like to say, where can the audience find you?
Well, if you want to find me, you can find me on Twitter at Anth0z1. That's at Anth0z1.
And if you want to find me on Twitter, you can also find me at Mattbrush Gaming. If you want to watch this podcast in video format, you can go to Mattbrush Gaming on YouTube. You'll find the Scumbar podcast there, as well as the Marvel Movie Marathon that we do. But if you want to listen to this podcast with your ears, you can go to any of your favorite podcasting platform, because we're there, man. And you know what we can say? We can actually say we're better than Joe Rogan, because we're available on all platforms, not just Spotify. So there you go.
Take
Number
that.
one podcast? Yeah, right. We're available on everything.
Yeah, take that, Rogan. We may not be number one on all of them, but we're on all of them.
Exactly.
Snap, snap, clap, clap.
We're number one in my mind. And if you
Yep.
guys think so too, please leave us a like or a comment or a subscribe or whatever it takes to make us number one for real.
Or just comment saying you're number one.
Oh, that'll make me feel so good.
That'd be great. I'd love
Or
to see
if you
that.
want to send us some kind of like essay, then you can go to the scumbarpodcast@gmail.com and send us that there. Then we
And it
may...
can just be paragraphs full of you're number one, you're number one.
Skip.
You're number one."
You're number one. And we'll read it live on air if it's awesome enough. You know, maybe let us know what your favorite speedrunning category is, or you know, if you like speedrunning in general. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Anyways, Anth0z, I know you've been dying to let us know this secret. So go ahead, tell us your secret. Ooh, it's that serious.
I've been Anth0z.
Oh! If you need anything, I've been Mattbrush.
Mic drop.
Well done, son. Goodbye, everybody!
Thank you. All right, goodbye, everybody. Bye.